Welcome back to A Moment with Miranda, where we take a few minutes to reflect, reset, and remind ourselves that we are enough. I wanted to talk about something that is not always easy to admit: the reality of falling out of love or loving someone who no longer has the capacity to love you back. It's a topic that weighs heavy on my heart because it speaks to those moments when you start to realize that things are not the same, that something has shifted. It's a feeling that can be hard to articulate, yet it's one we often experience in silence. You know, they say the hardest part of love ending isn't always the final goodbye. It's often the nights leading up to it. Those moments when you're lying next to someone and you start to feel that distance. It's when you see that sad smile on their face when you say, "I love you." Or when they start looking at you just completely and utterly differently. It's that creeping doubt, that gnawing feeling that something has changed, and no matter how hard you try to hold on, you know deep down that things will never be the same. I've been there. I've lived that. I've gone through 2 divorces, and I went through a divorce with a person I once thought I'd spend forever with. We were so in love. But as time went on, we grew into 2 different people. The person I was when I got married was not the same person I was when it ended. And the same went for him. Sometimes that's just life. People evolve, and unfortunately that means they can grow apart. And that's okay. It's okay to love someone and still recognize that you're not meant to be together anymore. The hardest part is acknowledging that even though love may still be there, it may not be enough to keep things together. It's not about failing. It's about understanding that love alone doesn't always mean happiness or fulfillment. And that's a tough pill to swallow, especially when you've invested so much of yourself into that person, when you've built a whole entire life together, had children together, and when you've shared dreams and moments and lots of memories. But here's the thing. Sometimes letting go is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them. It doesn't mean you didn't care enough and you weren't strong enough or that you weren't good enough. It means you recognized that your paths were no longer aligned, and that's a form of courage in and of itself. Falling out of love or realizing that someone isn't capable of loving you back the way that you deserve doesn't take away from your worth. It doesn't make you any less deserving of love, happiness, or the chance to be with someone who can meet you where you are. It's just a chapter in your story. And like any chapter, it will come to an end. And a new one can and will begin. So, if you find yourself in this situation, know that you are not alone. There is a beauty in loving fully, even if it means walking away when that time comes. There's a strength in acknowledging that sometimes love isn't enough to keep things together. And that doesn't make it any less real or any less important. And as we close this moment together, I want to remind you that no matter how your story of love unfolds, keep loving, keep believing in your value, and remember that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to let go. And as always, you were always enough, babe. Always.